We're back for another chapter of Charlotte's Web by E.V. White. We're going to read chapter 6 today, and once we're done, I have another activity for you to do at the end, but you also have to do your predictions. So you have to check your old prediction, make a new prediction, and do the activity at the end. Well, this is chapter 6. It's called Summer Days. The early summer days on a farm are the happiest and fairest days of the year. Lilacs bloom and make the air sweet and then fade. Apple blossoms come with the lilacs, and the bees visit around among the apple trees. The days grow warm and soft. School ends, and children have time to play and to fish for trout in the brook. Avery brought trout home in his pocket. Warm and stiff, it was ready to be fried up for supper. Now that school was over, Fern visited the barn animals almost every day, and she sat quietly on her stool. The animals treated her as an equal. The sheep lay calmly at her feet. Around the 1st of July, the work horses were hitched to the mowing machine, and Mr. Zuckerman climbed into the seat and drove into the field. All morning, you could hear the rattle of the machine as it went round and round, while the tall grass fell down behind the cutter bar in long green swaths. He's just cutting the grass. The next day, if there was no thunder shower, all hands would help rake and pitch and load, and the hay would be hauled to the barn in the high hay wagon, with Fern and Avery riding at the top of the load. Then the hay would be hoisted, which means lifted, sweet and warm, into the big loft, until the whole barn seemed like a wonderful bed of timothy and clover, which are types of grass. It was fine to jump in and perfect to hide in, and sometimes Avery would find a little grass snake in the hay and would add it to the other things in his pocket. Early summer days are a jubilee time for birds. It means they're excited. In the fields, around the house, in the barn, in the woods, in the swamp, everywhere, love and songs and nests and eggs. From the edge of the woods, the white-throated sparrow, which must come all the way from Boston, calls, "Oh, Peabody, Peabody, Peabody!" On an apple bough, which is the branch, some birds twitter and wag their tails and say, "Phoebe, Phoebe," just different bird sounds. The song sparrow, who knows how brief and lovely life is, says, "Sweet, sweet, sweet." A sweet interlude of sweet, sweet, sweet. If you enter the barn, the swallows swoop down from their nests and scold, "Chicky, chicky," they say. So all the birds make different noises. In early summer, there were plenty of things for a child to eat and drink and chew. Dandelion stems are full of sweet milk. Clover heads are loaded with nectar. The fridge is full of ice-cold drinks. Everywhere you look is life. Even the little ball of spit on the weed stalk, if you poke it apart, it has a green worm inside. And on the underside of the big leaf of the potato barn, there are bright orange eggs of the potato bug. It was on a day in early summer that the goose eggs hatched. It was an important event in the barn cellar. Fern was there, sitting on her stool when it happened. Except for the goose herself, Charlotte was the first to know that the goslings had arrived. The goose knew a day in advance that they were coming. She could hear their weak little voices calling from inside the egg. She knew that they were desperately cramped inside the shell and were most anxious to break through and get out. So she sat quite still and talked less than usual. When the first gosling poked its green-gray head through the goose's feathers and looked around, Charlotte spied it and made the announcement. "I'm sure," she said, "that every one of us here will be so excited to learn that after 4 weeks of effort and patience on the part of our friend the goose, she now has something to show for it. The goslings have arrived. May I offer my most sincere congratulations." "Thank you, thank you, thank you," said the goose, nodding and bowing shamelessly. "Thank you," said the gander. That's the boy goose. Congratulations, shouted Wilbur. How many goslings are there? I can only see one. There are 7, said the goose. Fine, said Charlotte. 7 is a lucky number. Luck had nothing to do with this, said the goose. It was good management and hard work. She's proud of her eggs and her little goslings. At this point, Templeton, the rat, showed his nose through the hiding place under Wilbur's trough. He glanced at Fern, the girl, and then crept cautiously toward the goose, keeping close to the wall. Everyone watched him, for not many people liked him, and he was not well trusted. Look, he began in his sharp voice. You say you have 7 goslings. There were 8 eggs. What happened to the other egg? Why didn't it hatch? It's a dud, I guess, said the goose, which means it's not working. What are you going to do with it? Continued Templeton, his little, round, beady eyes fixed on the goose. You can have it, replied the goose. Roll it away and add it to that nasty collection of yours. Templeton had a habit of picking up unusual objects from around the farm and storing them in his home. He saved everything. Certainly, said the gander. You may have the egg. But I'll tell you one thing, Templeton. If I ever catch you poking your ugly nose around our goslings, I'll give you the worst pounding a rat ever took. And the gander opened his strong wings and beat the air to show his power. He was strong and brave. But the truth is, both the goose and the gander were worried about Templeton. And with good reason. The rat had no morals, no kindness, no consideration, or any feelings of niceness, no friendliness, no anything. He would kill a gosling if he could get away with it. The goose knew that. Everybody knew that. With her broad bill, the goose pushed the unhatched egg out of the nest. Everyone watched in disgust as the rat rolled it away. Even Wilbur, who could eat almost anything, was appalled. Imagine wanting a junky old rotten egg, he muttered. Well, a rat is a rat, said Charlotte. She laughed a tinkling little laugh. But, my friends, if that ancient egg ever breaks, this barn will be untenable. What's that mean? Asked Wilbur. It means nobody will be able to live here on account of the smell. A rotten egg is a regular stink bomb. I won't break it, snarled Templeton. I know what I'm doing. I handle stuff like this all the time. He disappeared into his tunnel, pushing the goose egg in front of him. He pushed and nudged till he succeeded in rolling it to his lair under the trough. That afternoon, when the wind had died down and the barnyard was quiet and warm, the gray goose led her 7 goslings off the nest and out into the world. Mr. Zuckerman spied them when he came over with Wilbur's supper. Well, hello there, he said, smiling all over. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 baby geese. Now, isn't that lovely? And that's the end of chapter 6. I hope you enjoyed that chapter. Now it's time to learn about your activities. So remember, you still have to check your old prediction, see if you were correct, see if you were wrong. I didn't think that the baby goslings were going to hatch in this chapter, so I would have been wrong. So it's okay if you did not predict correctly. And you need to make a new prediction for chapter 7. What do you think is going to happen in chapter 7? Do you think it's still going to be about the goslings? Do you think it's going to be about Wilbur, about Charlotte? Take a guess. You might not know exactly what's going to happen, and that's okay. Now, you also have another activity today. It's been 6 chapters for Charlotte's Web, and I want to make sure that we're not forgetting what's happening in the past chapters. If you need to go back and watch the other videos again for this activity, that's okay. That's the bonus about these being recorded. And you can push pause, you can push play, you can go back and watch them again if you missed something. So if you don't remember what happened in the past chapters, go back, listen to them again, and then start the activity. Today's activity, you're going to be making something called a storyboard. In a storyboard, you're drawing one picture for each chapter. So using some kind of paper, it could be a paper with lines, it could be a white paper. I'm going to do it on a whiteboard so it's easier for you to see. You're going to be dividing your paper or whatever you're using. If you want to have a whiteboard to do it on as well, that's fine. You're going to divide it into 6 pieces. 6 pieces for 6 chapters. So to divide it into 6 pieces, you need to take a line from the top, about here, down, and another line from the top, about there, down. So right now I have 3 sections. Whoop. 1, 2, 3. And then you need a line across the middle. Because if I have three chunks, and I divide them all in half, I now have 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now in these, you need to number them so that I know which one is which. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In each box, you have to draw one picture of something that happened in that chapter, something important. So, your first chapter, Fern gets a little piglet. It could be that. It could be, see if something else important happened in that chapter. But that's one of the most important parts of that chapter, is that we learn about Wilbur. So you could draw your little Fern. I'd like your drawings to be nicer than this because you have more time, right? I'm doing it fast. You're taking your time, so you shouldn't have stick people like me. Here's Fern. Oh, she's flying right now. She needs to be on the ground. And she's holding her little box. And maybe in the box, there's a little piglet. Since you're taking your time, your picture should look much nicer than mine. But in it, I have my picture. And then at the bottom or the top or in the side, wherever you have space, I want you to write to me what you drew. So here, I drew Fern gets, oops, it's a little small, sorry, a piglet and names it Wilbur. And for some people who weren't sure about how to spell Wilbur, that's Wilbur. I should have a period. And I'm trying to write this up and down and quickly, so yours should look nicer than mine, have better printing than mine too. Fern gets a piglet and names it Wilbur. I'm going to let you do the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one. On the 6th one, I'll help you out because we just read that together. The 6th one, I'm going to draw the baby goslings. That seemed important for that chapter. So I'm going to draw, here's a little goose. Whoops, got a wing. It's a she because she's sitting on her nest. It can be her nest. Got some sticks and hay. Maybe here's an egg. And out this egg, I'm drawing a cracked egg. There's a little tiny bird coming out of the egg. Remember that you have to write a sentence for each one too. So I have my sentence here. Fern gets a pig and names it Wilbur. That's not what I'm going to write here though. Maybe I'll write the baby goslings hatched. See how I'm writing it kind of wherever there's room. If your picture takes up most of the space, you could also write your sentences on a different page if you'd rather do that. You can go do something like this. You can draw your pictures and maybe on the back, you can go chapter 1. Fern gets a piglet and calls it Wilbur. So if you would rather just have pictures on this part and write your sentences somewhere else, that's okay. If you want to do your picture and your words on the same place, That's okay too. But you do need one for each chapter we've read so far. So we read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chapters. You need 6 pictures and 6 sentences. It's okay if you can't get it done today, but this is your activity for chapter 6 in novel study. So I do need to see it at some point. If you need to do it tomorrow or the next day, that's okay. But you do need to do this, and you need to do your predictions. There's extra work this time because I know you can do it, and I believe in you. And you need to make sure you have it so that you remember what's going to happen. Keep it, because later in the book, you might forget what happened. You can go look back. I know what happened in chapter 1. I know what happened in chapter 2 and 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this way you won't forget the important parts. So don't throw away or recycle your storyboard when you're done with it. Even if I've seen it, keep it so that you can go back and see what happens in each of the chapters. Okay, I think that explains it. If you need to go back and listen to me again to explain it, that's okay. That's why this is a video. That's great. You might need to look back at the other videos to watch to see what happens, and that's okay too. Fill in your 6 pictures for your storyboard. Write your 6 sentences. And check your old predictions and make a new prediction. All right, I'm challenging you a little bit this time, but I know you can do it. See you next time.